And in both of them, what men did to them, God turned to good. And this was one that, these couple ones that I added, was that their brethren vowed, like Joseph's brothers vowed, they would never bow down to him. Remember, Joseph had the dream, and that they were bowing down to him, and Joseph said, here's this dream, you're bowing down to me. And they said, never, we'll never bow down. They hated him for it. Now, this has not happened yet, but I believe prophetically, because Joseph is a prophetic picture of Yeshua, I believe this also will happen, that all the Jewish people, all the brethren of Yeshua that hate him and say they will never bow down to him, they will. It says every knee will bow and every tongue will confess Yeshua is Adonai. And even notice that their brothers at first don't recognize him. Yeshua's brothers, well, we'll start with Joseph, his brothers did not recognize him. They thought he was an Egyptian. He was speaking Egyptian language. He was dressed as an Egyptian. They didn't recognize him whatsoever as their brother. It's the same with Yeshua. The Jewish people, most of the Jewish people do not recognize him as their Jewish brother, because he over the centuries, the image of who he is has been changed into sort of a Gentile, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, sort of Christian. And so the Jewish people don't recognize him, but they will. And I think the story of Joseph gives us such hope in these prophetic things that they will come to pass. Amen? Is that? Oh, okay. Last part is that from the parasha is from 1 Peter. 1 Peter 1:6. And it talks about the testing of our faith. Can you imagine how Joseph's faith in God must have been tested? I mean, not only was he thrown into a pit by his brothers and sold into slavery, but then once he was exalted in Potiphar's place, his wife came after him. He did the right thing in resisting her, and he gets thrown in prison again. And then he speaks to these prisoners, and he says, when you get out of here, remember me. He forgets him. And he's sitting in an Egyptian dungeon for how many years? Can you imagine the testing of his faith? And yet he remained faithful to God. And I believe that we are also to go through tests and trials because God is preparing us. He's preparing our faith. He's preparing us for the position that he has for us. But we first have to go through these tests and trials. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's painful. It's difficult. We've had 3 cars die in the past, how long? Week or 2? Both our cars died. We borrowed my mom's car, and that one died too. The heart broke, the kids got sick, the husband got sick. What else happened? The place was broken into, all the equipment was stolen, I mean, we go through this stuff, and no, we don't like it. But here's what Peter is saying. Okay, 1 Peter 1:6. In this you greatly rejoice. Now this is what gets me. We are supposed to rejoice when this stuff happens. In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by various trials. So part of us is grieving through these trials that we're going through. But part of us in our spirit should be rejoicing, knowing, keeping in mind the end result is going to be good. Now it says for a little while. Now a little while in God's timing can be longer than a little while in our timing, okay? A day, is like 1,000 years. Okay, so a little while can be longer than we want it to be. But it says the genuineness of your faith being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is being tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Yeshua, the Messiah, whom having not seen, you love. Now, is anybody's faith being tested by fire right now? Anybody going through some fiery tests and trials? Because if you're not now, you probably will be. And that's not a negative prophecy. That's just the way it is, especially as we're getting closer and closer to the end. We are being put through these fiery tests and trials in order that our faith will be genuine. It will not be a fake thing. It will not just be a superficial thing, but it will be a deep thing that cannot be shaken by circumstances, and we'll stay faithful to God. Amen.
shall flow like a river. It shall fall as the dew. It shall rise as the dawn in glory on the land, and the knowledge of the Lord shall fill all the earth, and the Spirit of the Lord shall flow. It shall flow like a river. It shall fall as the dew. It shall